Hello and warm greetings to our audience across Africa. Welcome to the episode of the WiM-Africa Interview Series, where we spotlight the next generation of women who will shape African mining future. I am your host, Priscilla Hawanatu Kamara, and today we focus on a young woman whose story represents courage, resilience, and ambition of many emerging professionals across the continent. Joining us today is Lilian Magula from Kenya, recent graduate in the mining sector who has already been exposed to some industry opportunities, yet is searching for a stronger entry pathway, structured mentorship, and professional visibility. Today, we will explore her journey, her aspiration, and what it truly means to be a young woman entering African mining ecosystem. Lilian, you are most welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for the interview, and I look forward to sharing my journey on how my career path has been and whatever I've learned and the challenges that I have faced as well and how I've navigated through them.
You're welcome. Tell me, Lilian, tell us a little about yourself, your background, studies, and to the mining sector.
Okay, so maybe just a little bit to introduce myself. I am Lilian Mugala, a graduate mining engineer from Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. I did a bachelor's degree in mining and mineral processing engineering. And the reason as to why I chose mining engineering is that at that time when I chose it, I really didn't know much about it. All I wanted to be is that I wanted to be an engineer. But then I saw the course on the career board when I was back in high school, and I was like, I should give this a try because I've done geography and I love the minerals and rocks topics a lot. So that's what made me choose the course. And I was successful and I was placed at Jomo Kenyatta University. But then the passion grew as I continued to know what exactly mining means. And that is when I came to know that where I come from, there is a lot of gold mining. So during the long holidays, I would visit the mines, look at how the miners are doing the activities, look at the challenges that they are facing, and that I would try to come up with solutions for this problem. And that is how my passion grew and grew. And it keeps growing day in as I am involved in the mining activities. So yeah.
Thank you so much. So interesting. What has your experience been like as a young woman entering the male-dominated field? Tell me about your experience.
So about that, the experience has both opportunities and challenges. And I'd say as a young woman in the mining engineering sector, you have to prove that you're able to deliver whatever is needed. You have to go an extra mile because the industry is sort of wired in a way that it believes that men, because they are masculine, they're the ones who are capable of delivering. So for a woman, you have to go an extra mile to prove that you're able to do whatever task that you're being given. And that is one of the challenges most young women, including myself, are facing. But as long as you know who you are and you know what you can bring on the table, you can always have that opportunity to do the job. So the opportunities, I'd say that most of the companies nowadays value the ESG principle a lot, and that's where you find that there are rules that are stipulated that sometimes when hiring people, at least there should be a lady, and there is that added advantage because the sector is not yet flooded with so many women into it, but we are looking into a future where we are going to have more young women joining us in this field. So if you have that technical expertise and you're part of the of the people who are going for the interview, then the chances of you getting that role is very high, as long as you're able to prove enough that I'm capable of delivering this task. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So interesting. You've had exposure to some opportunities in the past. Can you tell us about what did you learn from those experiences?
It's okay. So I'd say I've had a quite number of opportunities since I started doing my course back in 2019, and I graduated I finished my studies in 2024. So back in university, I research where I'd say the challenges weren't as much, but some of the things I got to learn there. As a woman in the mining field, you have to be very straightforward, because you're viewed as a flower, if I may say, because you're one of the very few women who are there. So everyone is looking up to you. So you have to be very smart when you're trying to interact with your male colleagues, so that the boundaries are not crossed. You have to be strict with your lines. You say that this is something I'm not going to tolerate, and you stick to that. So it has been a learning experience, and I've learned how to interact with people. The other thing is that one thing I've learned that is very important is the field is networking. Network is something that we should always have. And how do we get to network? Personally, myself, back in university, I would join professional organization, and that is what has opened opportunities for me. And I didn't have to stay for a long time without being employed. So I'd go and interact with people, not in a point that, like, do you have a job for me? When networking with people, you're supposed to give that information that I'm capable of doing this. I have done this and this. Then when they come across an opportunity that suits what you're doing, they'll definitely refer you. So you have to be really good at networking. Show up for yourself, attend the networking events, join the professional organization, pay the registration fees, even as a student. And that is what I've always encouraged my young ones back in my university to try and do that, so that will open up more opportunities for them. So besides working at a quarry site, I also worked in an artisanal gold mining sector. And this was the most interesting one for me, because I even did an innovation in the same. So when you get an opportunity, always ensure that you give it your best. Try to look at the challenges that people are facing. Do you have any solutions to that? So during my time when I was attached at an artisanal gold mine, I got to see the issues they faced, like the ventilation issues. And I designed a ventilation equipment that incorporates carbon capture. You see, such things are the ones that add weight onto your CV, and they increase the chances of you getting another opportunity. So for my very first internship that I started in April, I got it in a gold mining company. And from the interview question, whatever got me the job, I tend to believe that it's because of the past experiences that I have had. They'd ask you application question of how resilient are you, and you'll be very well conversant if you've been able to experience a few things, either related or not related to mining, just life skills that make you resilient enough to be able to get that position. And from there, more opportunities have been opening up. Even my current job, I got it when I was still an intern. So yeah, the more you put yourself out there and you tell people, this is what I have done this and I'm capable of doing this, then that makes you a very perfect candidate for the opportunities, and you will always secure a position for yourself. So I've gotten to learn a lot during my experiences in the industry. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention, besides the internship and the job I am currently in, you have to volunteer a number of times for you to be able to for you to be able to show that you're capable of doing something. Even as we speak, I volunteer in a number of organizations, and I've mentioned one of them is the Mining Engineers Society of Kenya. And that is where also my network is. You know, sometimes you even have networks and that people refer you to side works that you can work and do them even be aside from the actual job that you're doing. So it's very good to have networks, and you have to be intentional in your networking.
Okay. Wow, quite interesting.
Mm.
Tell me, what major challenges ever have you faced in trying to secure stable opportunities and post-graduation?
Some of the major challenges are, number one, sometimes you find that most of the adverts, job applications, they tend to ask for 2 to 5 years experience, which is very hard for young upcoming professionals like us, because we just want something where we can start and so that we can build that experience. So sometimes the limit, the years of experience limit some of the young ones like myself, because I've been able to see a number of opportunities that ask 5 years experience, but I still try to give them a shot. But that is the number one challenge that we face as young ones, especially the graduate who just graduated. The 2 years experience to 5 years is really hard. So we really hope a future where the employers can give graduates chances to learn and get the experience. The other challenge that I faced, I'd say, sometimes it's not easy to try to connect the the academia with experience, because academia sometimes is so generalized, but the curriculum can try and put a way that it can incorporate the industry in curriculum development to make it easier also, because most of the time you tend to learn most of the work when you're in the field, because most of it you didn't like dwell so much onto it. Yeah.
Quite interesting. Talking about the gap between exposure and employment. You know, many young women get exposure, but not real inclusion. What do you think is missing in the transition from the exposure to actual career placement?
You just said, pardon the question again.
I'm asking, many young women get exposure, but not real inclusion. What do you think is missing in the transition from exposure to actual career placement?
Okay, from my understanding, I tend to say that the lack of inclusion is because, just like I'd mentioned, they tend to believe that this is mining is a more masculine job. That is why they tend to give most of these leadership positions to the men, because that is what they believe. But we look into a future where we are going to have women included through. And this can happen if we raise our voices. You own up your space. I am capable of doing this. I delivered this, so I'm able to deliver this. And then there is going to be that chance of a promotion to the next level, not just sitting down and keeping quiet with the challenges that you've done. Men will tend to get this inclusion because they're able to own up whatever they've done. So as young women, we should own up whatever we've done. I've delivered this project, yes. I, Lilian Mugala, I delivered this, and I'm capable of also handling this other project. So we need to speak up to be included as well. And I'm glad that WiM-Africa is also leading in that. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. What kind of support or mentorship do you believe will make the big difference for young women in the mining?
I think the kind of mentorship I'd say we need peer-to-peer mentorship, as well as mentorship from professionals who have already like established their career path. and we get to learn a lot from them. But sometimes also there is that indirect mentorship that the young graduate like myself should learn. I don't have to have that direct mentor. You know, I can always be looking up to you, Priscilla. I look at your social media. Oh, I'm very happy that Priscilla has done this. Their LinkedIn profile looks very nice. So I need also to update mine. So we don't need to depend on direct mentors only, because sometimes life, as I grow up, I tend to notice that life is really busy, and you as a graduate, you as a student, as a young woman in the mining industry, you're supposed to be the one who is doing the most, to reach out to the mentors, reach out to someone that you know is able to mentor you, do things correctly. So I'd say we can have different kinds of mentorship. Like myself, I also mentor a few students from my university, and they are really doing great, which I am very happy. So sometimes peer-to-peer mentoring is very key. And this can only happen if we have young ones mentored with the professionals as well, so that they can pass it down to the other people, because the ratio also sometimes is, you find that the young ones are too many, the professionals are few. So we can have peer-to-peer mentoring, and so that we can improve how the young women are being included into the sector.
Thank you so much, Lilian. We want to talk about the next gen leadership. How do you see yourself contributing to African mining industry in the next 5 to 10 years?
So for me, in the next 5-10 years, I'm hoping to increase the number of young women that I'm trying to mentor myself. And I believe these are going to be a very key people in the industry come tomorrow, in the next few years, they are going to be doing very great. And that is something I'm also going to teach these young women in the mining industry to also pass it down to others, because you can never reach out to everyone. So if I pass the mentorship to you, if I mentor you, at least mentor 2 or 3 more people. So that is how we are going to increase that chain of mentorship, because you can't be in a position to mentor everyone. So for me, I've been mentored with a number of people, and that is why I'm passing it down to other people. And that is how I'm going to contribute to the next gen leadership. And I'll also be encouraging that thing, the sharing, how do I call it? The sharing habit. You get to hear something good, share it with 2 to 3 people again. Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is, what inspired you to keep pursuing this path despite the challenges?
What motivates me to keep pursuing this path is how the mining industry contributes to the communities and the economies a lot. It gets to also contribute to our country's GDPs in so many ways. And also it's this mining industry, I'm very sure that you've heard the phrase that says that if it's not grown, then it's mined. So that is how we get our natural resources. What motivates me is how important our mining industry is, from everything that we use, from the gadgets, even the laptops that we are using right now to conduct this interview, from the phones, from our day-to-day activities, from the beauty products that we use, they all come from mining. And I want to be part of the people who are developing this industry, to ensure that we provide to the needs of the entire world. And that is number one thing that drives me to keep pushing in the sector, to ensure that we have resources enough to run our day-to-day activities.
Thank you so much, Lilian. We talk the solution and the pathway. Let's talk about it now. What would you like companies, governments, or WiM-Africa to change to support young women in the entire young women entering the sector?
For me, I'd encourage, for WiM-Africa, I'm seeing they're really doing great with the mentorship, offering volunteer activities. This will also add on to the experience of young women. And the other thing is that maybe WiM-Africa could partner with more and more mining companies that could take up young women into the industry, partner with institutions that could offer scholarship to young women like us to pursue further studies, say masters, PhD degrees, so that we can have more women in the sector. And also the mentorship is also very key in this, yeah.
So Lilian, thank you very much. Last question. What message do you have for other young women who want to pursue a career in mining?
My message to young women in mining is that keep pushing. Own up your space. Say that you're capable of doing whatever you're doing. Do it perfectly. Whenever you're given an opportunity, ensure that you give it your best, not leaving anything behind. Network, because your network is your net worth. And with that way, we are going to grow all of us and ensure there is more inclusion in the mining industry in Africa and the entire world.
Thank you so much for participating. To our viewers, don't forget to follow WiM-Africa on all platforms for updates on our program, leadership opportunities, and upcoming events, including our participation in the Africa Energy Idaba 2026. I am Priscilla Hawanatu Kamara, and this has been the WiM-Africa Interview Series. Thank you for joining us, and see you in the next episode.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.